first hitchhiker, Bob Williams.
Teenage boys, 15 to 19, have 6 times greater rate of death from injury than do boys that are 10 to 14 years old, according to the National Institute of American Health. These 15 to 19-year-old boys are at their peak of physical and mental development, except for that area of the brain that requires judgment, planning ahead, and sometimes thinking of the consequences. Fellow Toastmasters, I was almost 19 years old when I got in my car in Powell, Wyoming, and headed out on the road toward Indianapolis, Indiana, 1,500 miles away. It was noon when I started, and I had a 1950 Chevrolet stick shift, 6-cylinder, and it had a stick shift, and so of course it had a clutch. And my uncle, who was a mechanic, had taught me never to be shiftless. Now, as I was going down the road, I set my self-imposed top speed of 50 miles an hour. But in 1962, the top pop records that were on the radio were Ray Charles, and I have to remember this, I Can't Stop Loving You, Speedy Gonzales, Pat Boone, I don't know if you've heard any of these songs, and finally another one that I remember quite well, Don't Break the Heart That Loves You, Connie Francis. So things went pretty well. I'm going across the state of Wyoming, and of course when you're in the state of Wyoming, I don't know if it's still that way, but at that time you're not going to get any pop songs, you're only going to get country and western, so I had to wait till later in the trip to actually hear some pop songs. But I went on down the road and things were going okay, and finally it was almost sunrise the next morning, and I woke up and I'm driving down the side of the road out on the grass of a very wide area there that was just beside the road, and I kind of bouncing around. Wow, I woke up. Well, you'd think that would be a call to me to say, you know, Bob, I think it's time for you to stop. You've driven all night and maybe you need to rest a little bit. You just went to sleep driving. But hey, the adrenaline hit the system. I was wide awake now. The sun was coming up. I felt good. Got my second wind, kept on driving. The only thing I stopped for was gas to fuel my car and coffee to fuel me. And so we started to approach the Midwest. Of course, the temperature was rising, humidity was rising, and nothing too much was happening. Back in those days, we had no interstates. So it was a 2-lane highway, and you wouldn't go too far, especially in the Midwest. You hit a little town. You back down to about 25 miles an hour, stop signs. Then you pick back up again, and things were pretty boring. Nothing too much was happening. And finally, by noontime, I was totally exhausted. So what do you do to keep yourself awake when you determine you're just going to keep on driving? Well, I guess you could use willpower. You could try slapping yourself. That helped a little bit for a couple seconds. Turn the radio up real loud, let the wind come in from the window and hit you. But it's still a struggle. And then the only thing that interrupted that afternoon was I was going through a little town, and this car came behind me, and it went to pass me, and instead of passing, it pulled up beside me, and in the car was a teenage boy and a teenage girl. And she had her window down, and she leaned way out there and said, "Hey, would you like a hush puppy?" And I took it, I didn't know what it was. And I found out that a hush puppy is a cornmeal-based ball that's deep fried. It smelled great, and it tasted great. I kept on going, and finally, it's getting dark, and I'm in Illinois by now. And I'm thinking, boy, you know, I don't know how I'm going to make it to Indianapolis. Of course, never thought of stopping. But I thought, you know, the best thing I could do right now is probably pick up a hitchhiker, because I could have somebody to talk to, and they'll kind of keep me awake. Of course, I'm not going to turn my car over to them to actually drive, no, huh? And my parents had always told me, you don't hitchhike, and you don't pick up hitchhikers. My parents had never picked up a hitchhiker, and that was just a big no-no in the family. And so I was really going against my family's beliefs and teaching, but I went ahead and started looking for a hitchhiker. But where's a hitchhiker when you really need one? I couldn't find. But at least looking for one kind of kept me awake. I went through this little town. As I'm coming out of the town, there in the dark, kind of beside the road, I see this guy standing there. And I thought, why isn't he under the street light? He's kind of in the dark. Well, I stopped anyhow, and hey, you want to ride? I said, yeah, where are you going? I said, Indianapolis, Indiana. He says, yeah, sure. And he hops in, and he has nothing, no baggage or bags, suitcase or anything. The only thing he has is a pair of drumsticks. He pulls out the drumsticks and he's beating on my dashboard. I didn't appreciate that too much, to the tune of my radio. And no conversation, but at least it's something that's kind of keeping me awake a little bit. And we hadn't gone too far when all of a sudden the music stopped. And this is a special announcement. There is a 26-year-old man, medium height, medium build, with brown hair. He's a drummer, and he likes to attend jazz nightclubs. He is very dangerous. If you see him, do not approach him, but contact the police. Oh no! Maybe he's gonna kill me. Even worse, maybe he's gonna steal my car. I just kind of pretended I didn't hear it, just kind of kept driving, looking down the road. For a few minutes there was just a very tense feeling in the car. He stopped his drumming, and he said, that could be a description of me, except that I don't like jazz. We kind of laughed it off, and we were both extremely tense. And I'm looking down the road thinking, well, maybe there's going to be a roadblock down here with the police. What am I going to do then? And maybe he was thinking the same thing. But when we hit the border of Indiana, he said, would you drop me off in Danville, a town close to Indianapolis? And then he crawled in over my seat, got in the back seat, went to sleep. So, of course, I relaxed at that point, dropped him off in Danville, went on to Indianapolis, Indiana, to my aunt's house. 36 hours later, average speed 41 miles per hour. And I never told my parents about this because after all, they were kind of right. But fellow Toastmasters, when you see a 15 to 19-year-old guy doing really crazy, weird stuff that's risky and dangerous, don't judge him too harshly. After all, his brain is under construction, and in a few years, he might be a more responsible adult.